Pets are humanizing. They remind us we have a responsibility and obligation to preserve and nurture and care for all. Cromwell 2016. Today I'm going to talk to you about homelessness with pets, the things that people deal with on the streets daily when it comes to owning pets, whether it's mental struggles, emotional, physical, just the daily issues that they struggle with on the streets, as well as sharing how the pets help them when they are on the streets and what they do give up as a whole and things they give up daily to keep their pets by their sides. Today I'm going to share two stories with you. Heather, who's 22, has a dog named Poppy, and Andy, who I wasn't quite able to get his age, has a dog named Bailey. He lives in the UK. There was a study done in Los Angeles in 2016 with 398 homeless youth, and 25% of those homeless youth have dogs. Well, pets in general, but it's pretty hard to have a cat when you're homeless on the street. Dogs are a lot easier to take care of and maintain. What the dogs help the owners with is loneliness, depression, suicide thoughts, and drug use. Many issues they face when it comes to owning a pet on the streets is the main one is being able to utilize shelters. Shelters is the main one. Most of the time, shelters will not take pets because of safety and health concerns. It's a lot of things that come with owning an animal, diseases, things like that, and that they just can't have brought into a shelter. They have lack of income to take care of the dog, lack of medical attention for themselves because they put their dogs first. And there's also no pet vet services. And because of lack of income, they're unable to get their pet the services that they need. A story I'd like to share with you is from a girl named Heather. She lives in Seattle. She's 22 years old. How she acquired her dog and something she made promise to her dog was her boyfriend and her were walking the streets one day, and she went into a store, came out, and before she went in the store, they had saw two guys on the streets with dogs. They were arguing, and one of them looked thin, very emaciated. It was very scared. And so Heather went into the store, came out, and her boyfriend had told her he had made a decision for the both of them. And that was he had paid one of the men $5 for this dog. Dog didn't have a name. She was very thin, very scared. She looked up at Heather with the eyes of, please don't hurt me. And Heather made a promise to her that she will never let anybody hurt her for the rest of her life. And that was a promise that Heather has stuck to. They named her Poppy because she tried to eat a poppy seed muffin off the street. Super cute. I think that's super funny, but also symbolizes that, I think personally to me, that symbolizes the fact that they're scrounging for food. They don't have money to supply the right food for these dogs as well as themselves. So they're looking for food, whether it be trash cans, begging, going to people asking for food or people getting them food, whether it be dog food or human food. They are scrounging. So the name Poppy to me is very fitting, very sentimental, and also very sad. That moment was a very eye-opening moment for Heather. Because she made that promise to Poppy, they went from sleeping in a doorway to sleeping in a tent because she didn't want to risk doing anything to lose Poppy. She has since applied for food stamps, and she's working on getting Poppy registered as a service dog. That way Poppy is allowed to go into shelters with her against federal, I can't remember what it is, but there's a law that she is allowed, as a service dog, she's allowed to go into public buildings and businesses with her. The dogs give the owners a purpose. Another story I'd like to share with you is a man named Andy who lives in the UK. I didn't quite get Andy's age, but he had an eye-opening moment. He had done jail time, and on his last night, on his last jail time, he realized he was done. He couldn't do it. He wanted to change, and he was walking on the street and saw someone with two puppies. Eyes were both very shut, still very young. He was able to get one of the puppies, somehow get to a vet, and the vet gave the puppy Valium. At the time, Andy was using Class A drugs. He was a drug addict. And so when the vet gave the dog, the puppy, Valium so he wouldn't cry for his mother, Andy realized that he had to wean that dog off drugs. And during that time, he weaned himself off drugs. And Andy's had that puppy ever since. He got the dog from a street beggar. When he gave that street beggar money, he named the dog Bailey because that street beggar went to a liquor store and bought a bottle of Bailey's. Pretty fitting. Again, going back to Heather's story, scrounging for food, and now Andy's story with Bailey, the drug abuse, alcohol abuse, finding their fix, getting something that they need to get through their daily functions every day. And they don't have a job, so that's something that gets them through. And for someone who has a dog, with Andy at one point was struggling with suicide thoughts and depression. One point he was on a bridge in town, and he had Bailey with him, and he was thinking, do I throw him in first? It was down into water. Do I throw him in before me? Do I go in with him? And then he realized he was looking for a piece of paper, like, should I leave a note with him? And then he came to realize, who am I to decide when his time is and who's going to take care of him? And that's ever since he's done everything, and they've been a very, very strong bond ever since. "25% of homeless youth in the study that was done in 2016 within 2 drop-in shelters shared that the owners with pets showed less signs of depression, emotional struggles, suicide thoughts. They expressed that the dog helped them through. They felt that their dog felt loved. They felt more loved and appreciated and safe having a dog around. The study also shared that the owners would rather sacrifice not having shelter versus utilizing proper shelter or any services available to them within the community that they're in. Another main one is vet services. Vet services can be very expensive. If you're a pet owner like me, I have a horse, and that can be very expensive when it comes to whether it be annual routine visits or an emergency. Someone who's homeless doesn't have that type of money. They're having a pet for their comfort, their emotional support, mental state, just to have another heartbeat around, to feel wanted, loved, and to have a purpose in life, to try and strive to get off the street. In the UK, they have a volunteer vet service that goes onto the streets and helps the owners who have pets, give them, whether it be eye drops, medications, what they may need at that time. Andy, who has Bailey in the UK, uses the volunteer vet service because he was very concerned about cloudiness in Bailey's eye. He's very concerned about him. That's his buddy. So it's very hard to find vet services that will donate their time and medicine and really just all their tools to help these owners and their pets on the street. I hope hearing today that about homelessness with pets, that next time you're out and you see someone who has a pet, that you think, you give a little bit of a thought and you do your part to help them and do your best to, whether it's buying them dog food or giving them some money, doing the best that you can in your situation to help them out. You never know what somebody's going through. Thank you for listening to me today, and I hope you learned a little bit.